So maybe I will start. This is a pretty informal kind of presentation. I want to thank people for taking the time to join us. Busy days, but it's hard to believe we're a week and a half away from the start of school. Pretty informal. I'm going to go through a bit of a presentation. I do have Brett here with me to help out if there's any questions that I'm not sure of, and he's an excellent resource. He can answer some. This presentation is really kind of designed for parents, guardians, if they have any questions and inquiries on when their kids are family friends are heading to the college. So we're kind of deal with that through that type of lens. And I say that as having two boys that are currently in post-secondary, and I can tell you they don't tell me a whole lot. So these presentations are I thought would be helpful for some parents. So if you do have any questions through the way, just throw it in the chat and we'll kind of direct it. Probably will be like a half an hour here. I have like 10 slides. And either myself or Brett could probably answer some of the chat as we get going. So I'm going to share my screen here and we're going to go through a quick presentation. Brett, give me the nod there if you can see that. Okay, that's thumbs up.
All good.
Okay, so by introduction, my name is Lorna Hughes and I'm the VP of Corporate Services. But I spent a lot of my career in student services and a lot in programs too. So I've worked with lots of students through the way. And I can anticipate some of the questions, but this presentation is allowing you to ask the presentation. So we are Holland College. You know, one of the things that people always ask is why are people coming towards us? It's really, you know, most students, particularly now, are choosing the hands-on delivery, the smaller class size, the structure of the college. The other one is that, you know, we have most of the programs that people are interested in. And we do survey all of our students 3 times in a year, and we spend a lot of time on graduate surveys as well. So we want to make sure that people are not only getting jobs, but are getting jobs in their field. So the bread and butter to the community college system is to make sure that students are taking a program and then getting a job afterwards. The other area of growth that colleges are seeing, and with great partnerships with universities, are degree pathways. So degree pathways are one way where somebody can start with us, and then, you know, after the 2 years or the 1 year, they have a pathway into a university. Now, many students would come here and not have that in their game plan, but after the 2 years or 1 year with us, you know, things will open up a little bit. So there's really strong partnerships with universities and colleges, and they continue to grow. We are located across the island, and the black dots on that map are our campus locations, and the red ones are adult ed. So there's a really kind of good synergy between the post-secondary and what we call adult ed, where students are getting upgrading for certain high school marks, or they can take those programs, and then we try to, you know, pretty like fluidly move them into the full-time system. I thought this one was helpful if people are from away. Generally, we have about 2,500 students at the college in full-time programs. And although we're spread out across the island, the vast majority of our students, so we see in this chart, the blue area, the vast majority of our students are at the Prince of Wales campus. So there's about 1,500 of that 2,400 are in Charlottetown at the Prince of Wales campus. So that's the vast majority of it. So it is a different experience if you're coming to the Prince of Wales campus versus if you're going to go to West Prince, a little smaller. Tourism and culinary is probably, you know, just under 300 there. waterfront campus in Summerside, there's probably around 300, probably going to grow a little bit this year. Off-site, we do have some programs that will deliver it remotely. Marine Training Center in Summerside, small delivery. Georgetown, pretty solid with about 75 to 90 students there, and the Atlanta Police Academy. So depending on where your student is going, there is going to be a bit of a different experience, but the Prince of Wales is the bulk of where those students are. So what I'm going to talk about here is, this is kind of the delivery of the program, whatever program they're in, and how it's different. So if you're not familiar with the college system, it is a little bit different than the university system. So sometimes your student may be referring to things that you're not sure of, and this is where we felt that these presentations were helpful for parents or guardians. So we're talking a little bit about the program length, how it's delivered, the classroom, and a typical day in the student cycle. The other one that I wanted to show you too here is there's a ton of work being put into the new student orientation. So if any of your students haven't logged on to the web page, I would certainly encourage to do that now. There's a warehouse of information there. We certainly don't expect them to go through it all, but it's super helpful for students to get a bit of an idea of some of this information beforehand. And also it's helpful too for parents to take a look at that. And this is on our website, and you scroll down, it's right here, and you can click this, and this will have all the information, where things are happening, the days, and where our student supports are. So it's there for parents or guardians or kids to take a look through, but it's information that's accessible at any time. The other one that's on here that is pretty neat, there's a Kickstart program that we started last year. It's a virtual program. And if you go back to the main page, so we go right back to Holland College, we click down here to new student orientation. And this is Holland College Kickstart. And you can just click on that. You can put any email you want in there and it's a kind of a virtual program that walks through all our support systems. And you win prizes if you participate, but it kind of gives you a bit of a virtual look at, the college, some really cool videos from our current staff. So the idea is that we're trying to get students as familiar as we can with the college before they even walk in. So this is a really innovative program, and we have lots of students that have gone through it, but I'd certainly encourage parents or guardians to take a look at it as well, give you some information on particularly the supports. So this is where we're going to get into quickly. This is what's called a program map. So all of your students are going to have a program map. I would highly recommend after 2 weeks after they started, ask them for the program map. This will give you an idea of the layout of the college program, and they're all a little bit different. Now, this one we have up is kinesiology. So it's split up into 4 semesters. So very similar to the traditional high school or university setting. We have a 15-week semester in September to December, and another 15-week semester from January until April. Some programs have a little bit going on in May, but the vast majority of them are 2 15-week semesters. If you were a 1-year program, on this map, you'd only see semester 1 and semester 2. Kinesiology is a 2-year program, and all these little blocks there. So the anatomy course on the top in semester 1 is worth 3 credits. That is a course. Now the difference is that you need to complete all the blocks in semester 1 before you move on to semester 2. So these are all laid out for a student. It's unlike the university where you can pick and choose a certain class to, whether you want to take the class in the morning or in the evening. The vast majority of programs are laid out like this. It's block delivery. So you take 5 courses in semester 1. Sometimes you take 6, but they're laid out this way. So one of the questions that I would ask to my student is, can I see your map? And they will have that in a couple of weeks, and they can share that with you and give you an idea of what their day at least their semester is going to be like. Because I know when you get into some of the trades programs, there will be a lot of blocks in semester one. But sometimes those courses are only 1 credit courses. They can be a safety course. It can be a rigging course. So they can be delivered in 1 week. So just ask them to take a look through that, and it'll give you an idea of how kind of the course is being delivered. I found it super helpful. The other one that I'm sure your students aren't going to tell you, because I know when I ask my kids if there's any homework, there's never any homework. No, I got it all done in the daytime. So this is one I always like to share when I talk to parents or guardians. So again, as I said, every year we survey our students. So we survey them when they come in, and kind of ask the questions of like, where do you come from? How did you choose this program? That kind of stuff. And then we have a student experience survey. So we ask questions on their access to our support systems, but we also ask questions like, are you planning on working when you're here? But we ask questions of like, on average, my weekly study time outside my classes. So this is given to us from students. So we have 30% of our students that are saying outside, Monday to Friday, generally 9 to 3 is when they're here. Sometimes a little bit less, but generally that's what it is. They're still spending 15 hours. That's 30% of the students. The other 32% are saying at least 10, and you see the numbers that go below. So from our student support side and our student academic support side, the challenges always lie in the students that have not committed to the work outside their regular day. So all of our students are generally saying they do at least 10 hours a week of outside the time they're at the Holland College, they do that work. So that's just kind of, I know they're not going to tell you that, but I'm telling you that's what our students are saying to us. The other one that we're going to talk about is like the support system. So the programs are delivered in a cohort. So we have and I'll go back to the kinesiology program. Kinesiology program, we take 35 students all at once in September, and that's all the students we take for the rest of the year. So it's delivered in a cohort. One of their main support persons are their instructors. And it's super important that they get a good relationship with their instructor. The other folks we have, each campus has counselors that are available at all times. We have a health clinic located at the Prince of Wales campus. Students from across the island can attend this health clinic. We have a nurse practitioner, an RN on site. Those can be booked online. I'll show you how to do that. And the other one is we have student support workers, so student academic support workers. These are really important people, and one of our retention challenges is that particularly for younger students that are coming directly from high school, they don't ask for help until probably, it's generally after Thanksgiving or, the third week into October is where they find like things are starting to build up a little bit. And we try to get our academic support workers out to meet students at all the times, but it's just important that you have that conversation with them, that it is a fast semester. So if they are finding time management is a little bit of an issue, there's lots of support there, but like anything, it's just the first step is asking that. The other group, and we have like Brett's on here now, and I think Gracia may be here too, is we have first year advisors. And they are decentralized and they're at all the campuses and they have groups that they look after. These people are crucial to help your student just navigate, where do I go here? Where can I get lunch here? Maybe I don't like my program. All of those things that they deal with, we have advisors that are fully equipped to answer all those questions to ensure that transition from the first year is successful. The other last one I'm going to tell you about, and this is probably a secret because I know your kids won't tell you about these either, are what we call academic alerts. So an academic alert is given out by the instructor, and they're sent to the student via email. And academic alerts, we encourage them to send them out early. So an academic alert could be anything about, the student maybe not getting to class on time, whatever they're handed in is a little bit late. The other one is they're not engaged in some of the maybe classes. But we try to get academic alerts out as early as we can. And the idea is for the student to have that kind of conversation with the instructor. And the earlier they are, kind of the better. But we know they catch students off guard. And so there's a level of one academic alert, and the academic support worker will get that too. So they will reach out to the student and say, hey, you got an academic alert. Can we have a conversation on this? So I know the students aren't going to tell you about that because they feel like they've done something wrong. But it's important to ask, have you received any academic alerts? The idea behind the academic alerts is that because the 15-week semester is really tight, and as I talked about in that other program, you need to pass your first semester courses before you move on to your second semester courses. It's really important for the instructors to reach out to the student to say, oh, there's something that we're missing here, and have that conversation. So these are a really good system. And probably the barrier to this system is the students not paying attention to them. And that's totally natural, but we make them as open as we can to ensure that the student is, particularly the first year students and maybe a little bit younger. We see it all the time where they chose a program, like culinary, and then they get into a program and they're like, this isn't the program for me. And that's hard for them to admit. And you'll start to get some academic alerts, and we're trying to have those conversations so we can move students either to another program or take them out and do some other things. So those are things that I think it would be beneficial if you could talk to your students about that. The last couple I have here is scholarships and bursaries. So if your student, at this point, we're past the scholarship side, and that means entrance scholarships that people would apply for, but we haven't started the enrolled awards. So the enrolled awards are only available to students that are at the college now, and there's a lot of money there available. They can apply online, and they fill out one application. And there's enrolled awards that are kind of have a big scope, and there's a lot of enrolled awards that have smaller scope, so they could be eligible for PEI students who are taking the carpentry program, or eligible for kinesiology students. So there's always money left on the table there. So we want to make sure that students know about it and apply. And we understand that the fall is really busy and they may not think about it, but as a parent, I certainly want to encourage my student to make some applications on that. And lastly, before I stop here, I just wanted to take a quick second just to go back. So I'm just going back to the website here, and I think everybody can see that. And there's a couple of areas that you should pay attention to that we do hear each year from parents. So this one is, this one down here is our self-serve. So this is where all their information is, all their tax information, how much they owe, the marks, everything is there. Now, we're dealing with adults when we deal with these students, so they have to give parents, guardians, the ability to see this stuff. But a lot of times parents will call in and say, well, I need to pay their bills, I don't know how much they owe. But if they don't have a release of information on it, we can't give out any of that information. So I'll show you where it is. Your student has to kind of give you the release, but this is where it is. So they go on to the main page. So this is just the main page. they're going to log into self-serve, and how they get here is they can hit retrieve, and that will give them the opportunity to set up a username and password. It's really going to be their last name. And then they'll get an email that will give them a login information. And once they're in here, and this is kind of a really nice layout of everything for a student. So they can see all this stuff. So they'll see their grades, their student planning is where they register. Most of them hopefully have registered by now, but they can register now. That's all in here. But the one that, in case you call in at some point and ask the college for a release, up here that's my username. The student has to go in here and they have to hit student records of release. So they come down here and they just add a person. So that's where they would, if they wanted to, again, it's their choice, but this is where they would add a person, and they can limit the access of a parent or guardian, or they can give them full access. So if you kind of run into that in the college you call the college, this is what they're going to say. They're going to say you have to have that release of information. But this area is where everything they'll see is in here. Very user friendly and easy to access, but that's what they will see. So that's kind of all I have for the formal side of the presentation. I do kind of rely a lot on the website. I will stop sharing here and happy to take any type of questions people may have or something I might have missed. You can go in the chat or you can raise your hand.
You must have done a great job, Lauren. You covered everything.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, hopefully.
So on our YouTube channel, I believe it's just going to be Holland College. If you go on YouTube, all the videos will come up. They'll be in playlists, categorized by different types of videos. Terrell, as for your question about study permits, if you want to shoot me an email, I can send you off to Julia Clayton. She's really in charge of a lot of our international students and issues with their study permits. So I can drop my email in the chat here, and you can shoot me an email, and I'll forward it over to Julia.
Okay, well, if there's no other questions, thanks for tuning in. Just anything, just point your students towards the website, and that will tell them when they start and where we want to see them here on 2 weeks. Hard to believe.
Jason, so fees are going to be due that first week of classes. We usually say the first day of classes, so that'll be September 2nd this year. That can be paid in person or online. If you have any more questions about fees, you can also shoot me an email. And Lisa, yes, usually a few hours after you register for classes, after the student would register, they're going to be sent an email with their login for their Holland College account, which would be their SAM account, their email, and they should get that a few hours after registration. So a waiting list for a program just means that we kind of already have a target number reached for students that we're going to accept. And then there's just going to be a waiting list, and that waiting list can depend on a variable number of things. It could be if the student doesn't show up for classes, or if they don't pay their confirmation fee. It's just kind of a list of students that are kind of next up to be admitted into the program. So for Lisa, the question about your daughter trying to sign up for her hall pass, I don't know when she got her username for her SAM account, but usually you'll get it after you register for classes, and then it can take anywhere up to 2 days to be able to actually log into your SAM account. I also saw a question about technology for students, laptop, tablets. There is computer labs accessible to students in all the programs. Obviously, having a laptop isn't going to hurt because there is, like we said, there's going to be some homework, some after class, some projects. So having a laptop won't hurt. You just need one that's going to run basic internet, Word, Excel, just very basic laptop. Doesn't have to be anything crazy expensive. As for students with extra fees, just purchasing books, it is all program specific. Some programs are going to require different books than other programs. On the first day of classes, the instructors, the teachers are going to let the students know kind of what books are needed for that course. Sometimes the programs will take the students over to our bookstore and let them purchase the books right there in person with them.
And there is, Lisa, there is on our webpage, when you click on the program, there's a tuition breakdown there. So the programs do give an estimated cost of books for whatever program it is. So they'll give an estimate there. So you can click on just the program and the expected breakdown of tuition. I think there was a question there, maybe Brett, we missed on if somebody's expecting a scholarship or has been awarded a scholarship, it will show up on their account.
Yeah.
So that will, so if you see the fees, they'll see the fees in their self-serve, or again, I'll just kind of show you this. I keep going back to this website, but if you just kind of click on explore the programs, choose any program here, the tuition fees will come up. And when they log on to their information, if they're awarded a scholarship, it will be already placed on their account.
Yeah, Gracie, that's a good point. Yeah, I know Macs can be pretty difficult. I went through the marketing program here. I had a MacBook, and there's a ton of like authenticator apps you need to go through. So Windows tends to work the best. Windows is good, Dell's great. But yeah, you don't need to go all out and purchase a crazy expensive laptop. Just a basic one that'll run your internet and Word documents.
Yes, George Coles is applied against the second semester. It's good questions. Okay, well, I think if there's no other questions, I won't tie people up for much longer. I do certainly highly recommend going on the website, going under the orientation information, There's also an email there, welcome@hollandcollege.com. We have staff ready to answer any of your questions. The more things we can get answered prior to the students coming, it helps the transition for sure. I want to thank everybody for taking the time here, and thanks Gracie and Brett for helping me out in the background answering those questions. Hope everybody has a good rest of the afternoon, and we can't wait to see your students here in like about 12 days. They're coming. Okay, thanks everyone.